Hi and welcome to this 5th episode of Wolves World 5 in 5. 5 topics, 5 minutes, giving you everything you need about Wolves. Today I'm talking about the absolutely miserable defeat away at Crystal Palace as my main 5 talking points. Before I get started, please hit like, subscribe and share, and follow me on my different platforms, which are at NorthernWolf10 for Twitter and Instagram, and I have a website, www.wolvesworld.org, for articles and other things Wolves. Thank you. Point number 1 today, I'm going to start with the only positive from the game for me, and that is Willian Jose and Max Kilman. Willian Jose had a tough sort of first half, adapting, finding his feet, the pace of the game, but he recovered and did really well second half and actually had the only 2 chances, one of which was very smart bit of strike play, the other he probably should have done better with the header, but that was a real positive. And the other positive was Max Kilman looked very assured today. He was very solid defensively. He carried the ball out with real composure, which we don't see from players like Saiss when they're playing instead. And yet a massive bonus for me was seeing Kilman play very well indeed. Long may it continue, because I think we have to stick to the back 5. Point number 2, the passing today was horrendous. The only passes that had any effect on the game today were sideways or backwards. The lack of incision and the lack of decisiveness and risk-taking, which I think is actually what Nuno called out in his post-match press conference, was actually embarrassing. There was one pass I remember from Moutinho through to Neto towards the left corner flag. That was the only time I saw one of our midfielders in particular play a risky pass that could have got us on the front foot. These are Crystal Palace. These are bang average, and they're now ahead of us in the league, and it's because of a lack of ambition in that football game, and it was pathetic. Point number 3. The substitutions and the tactics within that game, and Nuno has not always, well in fact he's rarely impressed me with his tactics and substitution changes in match, were again completely ineffective. Yes, I think he should have brought on the players he brought on, although what Vitinha was doing instead of Neves, I've no idea. Moutinho was fortunate to turn up for the second half, and I think he was just too slow in making those changes. When you brought Hoover off for Traore, I think that was a positive switch clearly, but you put him at right wing back, a position we've seen him have no effect in the game for 2 years now. He should have been bumped forward, Kilman left back, Semedo right back, back 4. We didn't need to worry about conceding another goal. Palace weren't interested. We needed to score, and that was really disappointing for me. Point number 4. Dendoncker and Moutinho. Today they were horrendous. I've called and I said before the game I'd like to see Neves instead of Moutinho. That now has to be the way we go. Moutinho is simply recycling the ball at a level that anyone could do in the Premier League. When he arrived, he wasn't doing that. He was being far more positive with everything he did, and now he's just not. He hasn't got the legs for it, and he's struggling to see out a game. And if he's got the fitness to see out a game, he's being brought off because he's not affecting it. So really, Neves, who needs this run of form, he's the future of our team. While he's been inconsistent this year, he's had far more good games than Moutinho has. And if we want to support Neves to stay at the club and build on what he's got, he needs the minutes through this tough time. And I think Neves was the wrong choice to leave on the bench today, and then to not see him at all was disappointing as well. Dendoncker, I'm happy to let that go as a blip. We know he needs to add goal scoring to his game because he is capable and he hasn't been, but today's all-round game was woeful. He had I would imagine, the worst passing percentage I've seen on the team, or indeed the pitch. And that was a real shame, because I do rate Dendoncker and I do think he's pivotal in the midfield options we have, which is a video I'll do later in the week about our midfield options. But I do think Dendoncker today was very poor. And point number 5, we have a tough run of fixtures against teams in and around the top half European places in the table. And Arsenal next, who are playing Man United as I speak, are going to be well up for it, and they're going to know what Wolves are going to do. Wolves have some choices now. Do we go and adopt a Chelsea-style attitude and hope for a 0-0, which is all well and good until we concede, as we saw today, because we've got nothing else to offer? Or do we see it as a free hit and we go at them And yes, that might mean a back four, it might mean a back five, but we've got to do something that encourages the fans and the players to feel like there's something in this season for us, because right now it's a bit of a slip and slide down towards the bottom, and we were fortunate today that the Fulham game only ended up in a point each, because if either of them had picked up 3 points in the way that Newcastle did, I think Wolves would be feeling very different about how we look in the league right now, and we cannot rely on the teams beneath us not getting points for the next month or two. We have to start acting. So lots of choices for Arsenal. From what I saw today, personally, I'd stick with the back five, but I would be damn more positive than we were today. Go with a 5, but don't go for a 0-0. And that's what I'd like to see probably over the next run of games, regardless of each result. We've got to stick to some consistency, but we've also got to look for a bit of a positive attitude. So fingers crossed moving forward, because I am living in hope rather than expectation right now. That's all from me today. Sorry that was a negative one. It's not what I'm usually like, but I think it was much needed after that performance. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, check out my other platforms on Instagram and Twitter, and check out my website as well. Thank you very much. See you next time on 5 in 5. Bye bye.